They say some people are born to follow rules. Others are born to break them. And sometimes the world doesn't know what to do when someone refuses to fit anywhere at all. Happy Gilmore is older now, yet the spark that once made him unpredictable, chaotic, and almost impossibly talented still lingers. The golf courses have changed. The faces are new, but the crowds still cheer for that rare, electric joy only he can produce when a ball rockets off his club. He's quieter than before, the rough edges of his youth softened but not erased. In his small, cluttered apartment, trophies from the past line the shelves. Some gather dust. Some gleam under the fading afternoon light, reminders of battles won, lost, and nearly forgotten. He stares at them sometimes, wondering if the applause was ever for him or just for the spectacle of his chaos. Across town, a new contender is rising. Confident, precise, polished to stark contrast to Happy's raw, untamed energy. They call her the Queen of the Green, a player who seems to bend physics to her will. Where Happy swings with heart, she swings with calculation. And somewhere, deep beneath the nerves and adrenaline, Happy feels the old familiar tension. The thrill of competition, the dread of being irrelevant, and the quiet fear that he's running out of time. He steps onto the course one morning, sneakers scuffed, cap pulled low. The wind carries whispers of his past, victories on his past failures. The fairway stretches ahead, a familiar yet strangely foreign battlefield. He notices the cracks in the pavement, the subtle shift in the sun's angle, the way the trees seem to lean in, almost listening, and as he grips his driver, something stirs. Not just excitement, something heavier, more insistent. The feeling that this isn't merely a game, it's a reckoning. His coach, old and gruff, watches silently. He doesn't speak much anymore, but when he does, his words cut sharper than any putter could. "You're not the same, Happy," he says, not accusing, just observing. And maybe that's the point. Even Happy notices it the moments when the ball doesn't fly the way he wants, when the roar of the crowd feels distant, when he questions why he's even here. Memories of his late grandmother, of his brief hockey days, of the chaotic adventures that once defined him, they flicker in the corners of his mind, like an old film reel. And for the first time in years, he allows himself to wonder, can someone truly grow up without losing the fire that made them extraordinary in the first place? The tension builds with every swing, every glance at the scoreboard, every nod from the spectators. The world has expectations. Fans expect spectacle. Rivals expect weakness. And Happy is still figuring out what he expects from himself. And then, in a quiet, almost imperceptible moment, everything shifts. A misstep on the green. A glance from the Queen of the Green. A memory that flashes too sharply. The crowd holds its breath. Time slows, and Happy realizes, in the softest, most unsettling way, that the game he thought he understood, maybe he never really did. It's a pause that stretches, not empty, but full. Full of possibility, full of danger, full of what might come next. And as he takes a deep breath, standing alone under the muted sunlight, the question lingers, unspoken, for the first time in years. Can he find the balance between who he was and who he must become? Before it's too late. The morning air is heavier now, charged with something almost electric. Happy steps onto the green with a sense that today is different, tugekanti. Yet name why. The crowd buzzes, muted behind the hum of his own thoughts. Every footstep, every blade of grass under his shoes, feels amplified, as if the course itself is holding its breath. The Queen of the Green is there, poised, precise, every movement deliberate. But today, something in her eyes flickers, not disdain, not challenge, but a shadow of respect. She's seen the fire that refuses to be tamed, and she knows, as everyone does, that Happy Gilmore is more than a player. He is a force that cannot be calculated or contained. They face each other across the fairway, two extremes of the same game. Instinct versus strategy, chaos versus order. Every swing carries weight, not just of points or prizes, but of identity. Every ball that arcs through the sky carries a memory of mistakes, of laughter, of nights when failure seemed inevitable but wasn't. Happy swings with all the power of his past, the unpredictability that made him legendary, yet tempered now with the clarity of experience. The midpoint of the tournament arrives with a twist neither expected. A sudden gust of wind, a misjudged angle, the ball veering toward danger. Time seems suspended. Happy freezes, heart racing, every instinct screaming to react. And in that moment, something inside him shifts. Not a strategy, not a clever trick, but an understanding. Winning is no longer about defeating the opponent. It's about embracing the game, embracing himself, every flaw, every impulse, every laugh and scream that defined him in years past. He looks at the crowd, at the queen of the green, and finally, at himself reflected in the polished metal of his driver. He sees a man who has grown, not softened, but evolved. Not just a player, but someone who carries every past victory and failure with grace, who can still swing with wild abandon and yet touch something deeper, more human. The final holes blur together, a choreography of heartbeats and swings, tension and release. There is laughter, there is struggle, there is the quiet realization that what once seemed impossible, the perfect shot, the flawless game, the balance between fire and focus was never about perfection at all. It was about presence, about being fully, unapologetically alive. When the last ball drops, the crowd erupts, but Happy barely notices. He watches the queen of the green smile, nod, a silent acknowledgement of what they have both discovered. The applause fades into something more subtle, a sense of completion, a recognition that the journey mattered more than the score. Happy steps off the green, sunlight warming his face. The wind rustles through the trees, carrying with it a quiet promise. Life will always test, always push, always demand chaos and order in equal measure. But within that tension, he has found a rare truth. Joy exists not in triumph alone, but in the courage to swing, again and again, even when the outcome is uncertain. And as he walks toward the horizon, the echoes of laughter, cheers, and memories trailing behind him, a single thought lingers soft, steady, and profoundly human. Some games are never just about winning. They're about finding the part of yourself that refuses to lose.